What's up, and welcome back to the Ramble On Podcast. It is the home of your 9-23 Loyola Chicago Ramblers. My name is Zach Coe, and I am joined, as always, by my five-star co-host, George Cabra. George, it was not pretty, but the Ramblers found a way to claw back from a 15-point deficit and get a win over Richmond in the pillow fight. Moving on to take on Davidson. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. You take a win like that, and you hope you can build some momentum and run with it. They've won 3 of their last 4 games. They came back, like you said, from a 15-point deficit against a Richmond team. While granted, Richmond is not very good, you still have to find a way to win that game. And they came all the way back. They were good in crunch time. They hit a couple of huge shots down the stretch, and it was just a really good game, really fun to finally get a big win. This is obviously our biggest win of the season to this point because it means your season continues, and it's 1 down, 4 to go here to win the A10. I know that's a long way off. It's only 1 win, but still, it makes you feel good. It gives you some positive energy, and these guys have to be feeling really good about themselves because they went out there, and like we said last night, time and time again over the last few games, they have fought hard, they have shown fight, they have shown heart, and that's exactly what happened here. Down 15 so many times. You've said this phrase so many times, I believe. It's the glass jaw. You get hit in the jaw, you get knocked down, you stay down instead of getting back up and continuing to throw punches. This team got hit in the mouth early. They were trailing bad in the second half, double digits. They come all the way back, win this game. They get back up. They keep throwing punches, and they keep fighting. That's what we've been waiting to see all year long from this team, and it happened today in a big spot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll start with the first half where I tweeted it. It was a really frustrating first half on a lot of different levels if you're the Ramblers because he switched to a zone defense because they're just absolutely shooting the lights out. They opened the game shooting 63% from beyond the arc. Drew does his little sideline interview right before I want to say it was the under 12 timeout and says, oh, it's a law of averages. Like, they have some guys hitting shots that aren't gonna, like, that shouldn't be hitting shots. Like, it'll all come back. And I kind of rolled my eyes at that and I was like, all right, man, the law of averages, like we said it yesterday, but this team is a really good 3-point shooting team. They ranked in the top 100 in the country. I'll pull back up my notes now to get the exact number, but you hear that and it's like, okay, well, like, there's one thing to, like, all right, law of averages, but also, this is, again, one of the worst 3-point defenses in the country in Loyola and number 41 in the country in 3-point percentage on offense in the country, making 36.7% of their threes. So like I said, I rolled my eyes. I was like, all right, whatever, man. And then things got really sloppy on your end. You switch to the zone, and what do you know? Drew's right. Things don't stop falling for them, and the door's open. But you can't take advantage of it. There was a 10-second violation. There were bad passes, just rushed shots. Xavier Ramos today was not very good at all. He wound up finishing with, I want to say it was just 2 points. Let me bring it back up.
4. 1 of 8 though from the field.
Points.
0 of 5 from the beyond the arc.
Yep, he's 1 of 5 from the field in the first half. 0 of 3 from 3. You just couldn't get anything to go your way. You wind up going into the half with what you thought was a 5-point deficit. It turns into a 6-point deficit when they go back in and change a 2 to a 3. And you come back out for the second half, and it felt like it took a while for the energy to get going. It was really disjointed on offense. It was rushed threes, not open looks. It looked like guys were pressing, and it really the difference maker, and obviously we'll get to Joshua Ola Joseph's huge game. But to me, it was every time Miles Rubin was on the court in the second half. Alex Richardson became completely unplayable in the second half. He played just 6 minutes in the second half because
close
there was
to the old Tony Snell stat line for
literally.
For Richardson.
He was absolutely awful. He was an abomination today, and I said it, but you literally had to your catchphrase, put him on the bench with a seatbelt. Like that's what had to be done with Alex Richardson. today, he was really, really bad, which sucks because he had been really good for this stretch where they had been playing well. But Miles just, it opened up everything on the offense when he was on the floor because they were double teaming him when he got down low, and which opened up shots from beyond the arc for Daywilk. Hit two big ones. Cade Dotson hit a big one there in the second half, and then of course JOJ going 100% from the field and 100% from the free throw line in the second half with 15 points. It's just, we talked about it yesterday, but Miles, the growth that he's made in the last year, just passing wise, like he made a ridiculous pass to find JOJ. I want to say it cut the Richmond lead to 1, where they bit down on him and he just skipped past it around his defender, found a wide open JOJ who bangs the 3, and it completely changed the momentum. It's incredible to see from a team where, like we said last night, they didn't quit. They never gave up. They just as easily could have mailed it in, and they didn't. They clawed back from a 15-point deficit to get a win here. It was a lot of fun watching this team play this afternoon.
Certainly was, and I know I said this last night. I'll keep it short and sweet, but just another tip of the cap to Drew Valentine and that coaching staff for keeping on these guys. And I know we've called for Drew's head at times this season, and that's not going to happen, I don't think, regardless of how the season finishes. He'll get another year at least, but hats off to him, hats off to this staff for making sure these guys are ready to go, and it's just goes to show you what a coaching staff like that will do when your guys believe in you and they want to play for you, because you see teams all the time who quit on their coach gets fired. Syracuse, Kansas State, just to name a couple that happened this year. Guys get fired, the team quits on them. That has not happened here. And while it has not been all roses this season for Loyola, today was a great day to be a Rambler. You get a win, and now you move on to the next round with another chance to advance. And just piggybacking on your Miles Rubin comments there, I mean, he's just so good. He's so much fun to watch, and I really hope that he stays next year, man, because he is going to be make it or break it, I think, because if you can surround a team with the rosters that we've seen Loyola be able to put around Cam Krutwig back in the day and even Miles last year, this team can do something special, and maybe they can do it this year because these guys are playing well at the right time, and I'm hoping that it's finally starting to click here. I know yesterday I said we're going to lose to Davidson, but I don't know. I might be changing my mind on that because it's like every single time it's up, I'm out, and then they find a way to reel me back in here.
Pull you back in, yep.
Obviously. Yeah, exactly, and that's just part of being a fan and part of talking about the team on a weekly basis. And I don't know, man. It was so great to see. I love Miles Rubin. What a game for him. What a performance from the entire team today. I mean, Joshua Ola Joseph, I know we've not sung his praises, that's for sure, more often than not this season. But, man, what a game. 26 points, 7 of 8 from the field, 80% from beyond the arc, and 8-8 from the free throw line. Just clutch right there from JOJ. You love to see it, and just an unbelievable victory. We go into tomorrow night against a good Davidson team that finished 6th in the league. They're the 6th seed, and they beat us like a drum the first 2 times. We lost by 15 points, and then we lost by 20 points. So it's certainly going to be a tall task, a tall order. But with how we've been playing, I certainly think it's possible now.
Yeah, just a couple final thoughts on this one. Cade Dotson also had a really good game, kind of kept things together in the first half, shooting 50% from beyond the arc, 11 points, along with JOJ's 11 in the first half. Kind of cooled down a little bit in the second half, but you didn't really need him to do too much when JOJ was cooking the way he was. Xavier Ramos, I think this is a good point that Sudi and CT pointed out, that he obviously didn't have the best day shooting-wise and on the offensive side of the ball. 1 of 8 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3, just 4 points when he had been the leading scorer in this stretch of playing better over the last 2 weeks. And they mentioned that in the past, he would have let that affect his defense. He would have cooled off he would have started sagging off, but he didn't. He kept playing tough defense, and honestly, that was part of the comeback. Like, yeah, you have a 15-point deficit. You got to get stops at some point. Once it hit that 15-point mark, the Ramblers outscored the Spiders 37-14 in the last 13 minutes of the ball game. I mean, that's winning basketball. And something that Drew said in his post-game presser that I wanted to highlight was there was a sequence, and it was I saw everybody on Loyola Twitter saying the same thing, like, just get a rebound, please. This team is awful at rebounding. They gave them 4 opportunities at second chance points on the offensive glass early in the second half, and Drew ends up calling a timeout. And they asked him what that message was, and he said, look, I told them that I think we were getting a little bit too lost in the game, and this is March, and you got to come take it. And for whatever reason, that resonated in that huddle and with this group, and they went out and took it, and they capitalized on a Richmond team who is fresh off of blowing a 30-point lead to Duquesne over the weekend, and they let that doubt creep into their minds, and instead of them having the glass jaw, it was Richmond that had it, and they fought back and were able to get a win. So yeah, it's really commendable. Like I said, it was a blast to watch these last 15 minutes of the game today, because as it started building, you kind of started feeling like there was believability. And like I said, once that doubt started to creep into Richmond's mind, it was a killer instinct from these guys to go out and take advantage. They left the door open, and so many times we would have seen them just kind of let this other team, let them hang around and refuse to capitalize on it. And they finally were able to take advantage of it and mount a really nice comeback to win this game.
Yep, they were. It was fantastic game. You love to see it. You love the comeback, and just excited now to get to tomorrow, because we got another day. It's win or go home, obviously, in these tournaments, when you don't know, well, you do know for Loyola that you're not going to the tournament, and unless you win this tournament. So you got to go out there and fight the same way tomorrow, because your life is on the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Drew said in that post game that he told the team that they had until 5:15 to celebrate this win, and then it was back to work at 0-0, and we're focusing on Davidson. So now we're an hour and a half into Davidson prep, and let's dive into the Wildcats. Obviously, a team that, like you said, they beat you like a drum these first 2 times, but JOJ said it in the post game: hard to beat a team 3 times. So what do you got on the Wildcats?
Oh, you just said it. 0-2 this season, 79-64, 84-64, lost by a combined 35 points. These games have not been close. The spread here is 7.5, so the bookmakers think this game is going to be a lot closer than the first 2 meetings. Davidson went 19-12, 10-8 in conference play to claim the number 6 seed in this tournament. 107th in the net, 108th in KenPom, offensive rating of 148th, defensive rating of 88th. Seen it with Davidson this year and in the past, but a very, very slow team. They rank 354th in possessions per game and pace of play. That is 11th slowest in the country. So they are slow as molasses here. This is a team that, we said it yesterday, they don't have a superstar like they did last season in Reed Bailey. It's a good group of players that play really well together. They have good chemistry, and they gel really well together, and that is always a recipe for success in a conference like the Atlantic 10. You got to slow down Parker Fredrickson. He has put up 27 in 15 in the first 2 games for a total of 42 points. The other 2 guys you got to take a look at here, Robert Blums and Josh Scobins. They're the other 2 guys averaging double figures here for the Wildcats. So that is the rundown here on the Cats. I know we've seen them twice. We're going to see them a 3rd time, and hopefully that is true, where it is hard to beat a team for a 3rd time in the same season. But with how we've been playing, I certainly think it's possible.
Yeah, one thing Drew said in looking forward to Davidson is that they offensively have started to slow the ball down a little bit and run some more set plays. That's going to be playing right into Davidson's hand. He mentioned that as things started rolling for the Ramblers in this one, that he started letting guys play with a little bit more tempo and go, because the ball pressure that Richmond was putting on them was giving them some fits in the backcourt. I mentioned the 10-second violation at one point. There was a turnover, just Miles throwing the ball away on a bad pass to Cade in the backcourt. There was another one where they turned the ball over just because they were doing the slightest bit of full court pressure and nobody made themselves available for the ball. So I wonder if we start to see Loyola try to push the pace on this Davidson team just a little bit more than they have been recently, just because that's how they want you to play slow. If you're playing their pace, you're playing right into their hands. So I'll be interested to see what the offense looks like. I also think that they're really going to need Xavier Amos in this one because Davidson is a team that is really good rebounding. They rank 114th in opponent rebounds per game, allowing just a hair north of 33. So this isn't going to be like this Richmond team that you just saw that ranks towards the bottom of the country in rebounding. Second chance points are going to be at an absolute premium in this one. So you need to make your initial field goals if you're going to have a chance to win this one. And I'm feeling pretty good rolling into this one. Call it blind optimism, but I said it last night. We'll see you tomorrow, and I'm pretty confident that we'll still be dancing come Friday night against St. Joe's.
Yep, I'm going to be changing my pick here. I think we're going to win this game just with how we've been playing, the momentum we have. We've got a lot more momentum. That's one thing that is nice about playing in this game, I guess, is if you do win, you do have the momentum. You're feeling good. The other team you're playing was sitting at home, not playing. I guess they are more rested, but rest is overrated. These are college kids, so they will be just fine. You said it. We got to be good down low. Miles and hopefully JOJ can have another big game here. But if Miles can play like he did today and Ola Joseph can play like he did today and we can get a better game out of Amos, then I think we're going to win this game. So being good down low in the painted area on both offense and defense is going to be key. And you also said this, I will piggyback off of you here as well. Just playing at a faster pace, trying to get Davidson out of rhythm here, trying to make them uncomfortable because they like to go very slow. They like to get you in the mud. They like to make the games a rock fight. So if you can go fast, even a little bit, that's going to be huge.
Yeah, and the last thing I wanted to say is one of these games, I'm looking back at our notes from during the season, the first game against, maybe this was the second game against Davidson. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but Drew said after they got beat down by 20, 84-64, I'm not surprised by tonight because the last 2 days were brutal energy in practice from a mentality standpoint. So I do think that maybe Drew can push the right buttons on these teams and be like, look, like they fucking beat us down the last time we played because we weren't prepared. We didn't have good energy. And now it seems like that really isn't a problem. This is the quote that I read that said, he said, we need guys that are looking in the mirror, trying to grow and get better. That's what we need. Guys that are pushing in the same direction and us not having to beg and plead. It seems like they've certainly gotten that buy-in, and Drew said it was a practice before St. Louis came in, and Sheldon Edwards was there, and for whatever reason, something clicked with the team to have a guy like Sheldon in there. The message was received that you're playing for the name on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back, and now you see the video of the team walking off that the Austin, the video guy, shot, and they're all walking off the court flashing the Blers across their jersey, which is obviously what you want to see. Like, these guys have bought into what's happening, and they have believability. Another thing that Drew mentioned that I think is worth talking about is that he brought in someone to give a personality test at the beginning of the season and found that the group was overly optimistic. So this is a group that is willing to keep at it, and they know they're a talented group. And it's something that's been prevalent through them the entire season, even through the wins and the losses and the injuries and everything, that they knew they're a talented group and they never lost faith in themselves, which is, I think we're seeing come to fruition now that we have some more consistency in the lineup. Obviously it sucks with Caleb Reese going down and you're having to make a change in the ball handler department again, but we're starting to see guys finally start to gel. And I am starting to come around to the theory just a little bit more. I made fun of it earlier in the season that these broadcasts kept saying, oh, well, they've been injured. And I was like, yeah, that puts a lot of the blame on the injuries and not a lot of the blame on the players who have underperformed all year. And I still do believe that to an extent, but at least now, like, I am starting to think that maybe there is some credence to saying, okay, well, like, we're able to get into a rhythm. It's tough when you don't know who's going to be out there on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis.
Yeah, 100%. They have dealt with so many injuries this year. I mean, you're missing Chuck Love, who obviously has been gone for a long time. You're missing Justin Moore. You're missing some key guys, Kamani Huinsu, just guys that have been big during this season and guys who, aside from Love, were huge for this team. And I guess Moore, too, because before Moore was hurt, that just huge for this team. So you're missing a lot of key parts that were expected to be contributors throughout this entire season. And they've been able to make do here over the last 2 weeks. And with that, in their last 4 games, I already said it, but 3-1. I think that's the first time this season they've gone 3-1 in a 4-game stretch. So just take that momentum and take all of that good feeling and take that positivity and take that swagger and, the optimistic personalities these guys have and put it to good use tomorrow. Because if you go out there with that same energy, that same fight, you might not win the game, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than it has been in the first two meetings against Davidson. And at the bottom line is we know that they're going to go out fighting tomorrow night, win or lose. And I think it's going to be a win, and I think they're going to be playing on Saturday against the Hawks of St. Joe's.
Oh, it's Saturday, not Friday. There's the day off.
Friday. My bad. Yep, Friday.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one last thing. It's just like I said, the first half for Richmond, they shot the absolute lights out from beyond the arc, 7 for 16 from three, good for 44%. In the second half, that number was down to 2 of 16, just 13%. And like I said, the switch to the zone seemed to really work. It's gonna have to work again, or whatever they come up with defensively to stop this three. Davidson is 41st in the country in 3-point percentage at 36.6%, and obviously Loyola's woes, defending the three are also very well documented. One of the worst teams in the country at doing that. So we'll see. I think it's encouraging to me that this line is only 7.5. After getting beat so bad by them the first two times, it means maybe Vegas just sees that the Loyola brand, people associate that name with the March run still and think that they're going to get a bunch of suckers hammering the 7.5. But I will gladly be one of those suckers, because to me that's encouraging. So we'll see. I think
certainly is.
I'm going to take us on the money line. I'm going to take the 7.5, and I, like you, am confident that we'll be playing St. Joe's on Friday night, and I know I picked them to lose that one, but we'll see. I'm prone to change my mind, especially when we're riding high off of wins like this.
Exactly. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I too will be taking the 7.5. I too will be taking the 3-1 on the money line, because I think they're going to get it done. It's just, it looks like a new team, and I know every time we've said that this year, it's backfired, but hopefully when it matters most, it won't backfire. We can get a huge win, and we can continue the season at least one more day.
At least if it does backfire, that means the season's over and we don't have to watch it anymore. We can turn our attention to the transfer portal and fixing a lot of what went wrong this year. But once again, we will be back with a Ramblers win tomorrow night. Thank you so much for tuning in. I had a blast on Rambler Twitter today, watching the game along with everybody out there, experiencing the roller coaster of emotions from the feeling like the game was slipping away to Richmond gaining a 15-point lead, to slowly chipping away to finally getting those big buckets from JOJ to knot things up and then take the lead. It's just a lot of fun. So again, we will be back after every single Ramblers win until the season is over, and I will see you